Thank you for joining the Advancing Excellence podcast. Discover why metrics matter and how they can transform your campaigns. In this episode, Janice Klein's marketing manager and Vicky Sakaras, social media practice group lead for AOE, discuss social media metrics and give you tools to elevate your strategy. Join me as we begin the podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of Advancing Excellence, the podcast where we break down complex topics to help professionals elevate their strategies and thrive in today's competitive environment. I'm Janice Klein's marketing manager at AOE, and on today's episode, we're tackling a topic that's crucial in the digital age, but can often feel overwhelming to even the most seasoned professionals: social media metrics. To help us make sense of it all, I'm thrilled to be joined by Vicky Sakaras, the social media practice group lead here at AOE. Vicky, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Janice. Social media metrics is one of those areas that can seem daunting because of the sheer amount of data available. But I'm happy to show how simplifying the process can actually empower organizations to make data-backed decisions and maximize their ROI.
Vicky, we hear the term social media metrics thrown around a lot. For those listening who might be new to the topic, how would you define it and why is it important?
Great question. Social media metrics are simply the data points that track how your brand's content performs on social platforms. Metrics reflect things like who's seeing your content and how your audience is engaging with it, and even whether your content is driving actions like clicks or purchases. These metrics are critical because they give businesses visibility into what's working and what's not. Without them, it's like trying to steer a ship with no navigation tools. You're essentially guessing at where you're heading. And we know that businesses can't afford to guess like that in today's market.
Absolutely. At AOE, we often emphasize that metrics are more than just proving value. They're a decision-making tool, right?
Yep, exactly. Metrics equip businesses with actionable insights. They help you target your resources more effectively, fine-tune your messaging, and even forecast trends for better strategic planning.
So you recently wrote a blog, Making Sense of Social Media Metrics in 4 Simple Steps. This has been getting a lot of attention. Could you walk us through those steps and how listeners can apply them to their own social strategies?
Of course, and I'm actually happy to hear that the blog is getting good attention. That makes me happy. The steps are straightforward but incredibly impactful when followed properly. Step 1 is to identify your goals. Every social media strategy begins with a clear goal. Is your focus on building brand awareness, generating leads, driving website traffic? Without a defined objective, it's impossible to determine which metrics matter. Step 2 is to match the right metrics to your goals. Not every metric is valuable for every campaign. So for instance, if your goal is brand awareness, you'll want to know if people are seeing your content in their feeds and on their screens and how often. So you'll want to prioritize metrics like reach and impressions. But if you're focused on engagement, which is how your audience interacts with your content, then likes, comments, and shares are key metrics. Next, step 3 is to set a consistent reporting schedule. Evaluating data periodically ensures your strategy stays aligned and allows you to identify issues and pivot when needed. Monthly evaluations work well for most brands. And finally, step 4 is to build and review reports. This doesn't mean just crunching numbers. Context matters. You'll want to benchmark against industry averages, consider seasonal influences that can lead to increases or decreases in engagement, and of course, focus on actionable insights.
Those steps are so practical and seem so easy. I loved what you said in your article about aligning metrics with business objectives. Do you think that's something organizations often overlook?
More often than you'd think. Sometimes teams collect data for the sake of having the data, but without tying it back to measurable objectives or broader organizational goals, it essentially becomes noise. Metrics like impressions or follower growth are great, but their true value depends on the context of your goals.
Your other article on presenting social media metrics to stakeholders touched on something really important: how we communicate metrics to different audiences. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Definitely. Understanding your audience is crucial when presenting metrics. For example, marketing teams typically want granular details like post by post analytics because they're focused on execution. Executives, on the other hand, care more about the big picture and ROI. So tailoring your reporting approach ensures each group gets value from the data without being overwhelmed by unnecessary details. One good piece of advice is to tell a story with your data. Numbers alone can be dry, but if you frame them in the context of your campaign's goals and outcomes, they become much more compelling. Pairing that story with visuals like graphs, heat maps, infographics makes it easier to absorb the key takeaways.
That's such great advice. It's not just about the numbers, it's about what they mean and the decisions they drive.
Exactly. Metrics should lead to action, whether it's doubling down on strategies that work or optimizing underperforming areas. For instance, if your engagement rates are high, but your conversion rates are low, it might indicate friction in the user journey. Maybe the content on the web page your post linked to is not relevant and did not fulfill the promise made in your social media message. Or perhaps it's as simple as the page is slow to load or has a broken link. Platforms like Google Analytics or GA4 or AOE's own social media services can really help uncover bottlenecks and fine-tune performance. You can see where visitors dropped off and look at the exit points to pinpoint why.
Speaking of AOE social media services, can you share how we help businesses tackle social metrics and strategies?
Sure. At AOE, we specialize in not only demystifying social metrics, but also helping businesses and organizations use that data to create highly effective results-driven strategies. From setting clear objectives to implementing tools like UTM tracking and advanced analytics, we ensure that our clients are maximizing their return on investment. And it's not just about the numbers. We assist with content strategy, audience targeting, and even presenting metrics in ways that resonate with key stakeholders. Whether clients need a monthly update or a detailed campaign performance audit, we're here to provide the expertise that they need.
Well, thank you so much for sharing these incredible insights, Vicki. If you're listening and want to take your social media game to the next level, we encourage you to explore AOE's social media services. Whether you're looking to better understand your metrics or optimize your campaigns, we're happy to help you at every step of the way. Visit AOE's website at aoeteam.com to learn more and start achieving your social media goals today. Thanks again, Vicki, and thank you everyone for tuning in to this episode of Advancing Excellence. Stay connected and keep striving for excellence. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Janice. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you so much for joining us. We hope this session provides value, and we hope you will join us for our next podcast.